Hey folks, welcome back to another vlog video. So, it's been a long time since I've done one of these. This is normally where I usually talk about my outgoings outside of YouTube, how things been going and stuff, how I've been doing, and so on and so forth. So, let's go ahead and just start off by basically saying that the new schedule for streaming has actually been a positive note for me. Now, there have been a couple of times that I usually miss the mark by at least about a day sometimes. And it's usually kind of like a random thing where it's like, yeah, I'm just too exhausted to stream, or it's like, yeah, I can't really do it today, or something like that. But for the most part, I've been on par with the schedule thus far, and I've been very happy to actually stream at a continuous rate so far. I've had like 2 weeks, if not 3 weeks, of successful full week stream, being that of where I stream mostly Monday through Saturday, and it's been successfully going really well, and in most terms I've been doing pretty good. I do feel as if I have a little bit more, I wouldn't say freedom, but I do feel a little bit better doing it the way I've been doing it thus far. As of right now, I'm just working on the Sinner Sacrifice for Redemption gameplay footage. Basically, because of the fact that it's a short game, I figure let's just compress them into like 8 different parts, involving the 8 different bosses that you will fight in Sinner Sacrifice for Redemption. And for the most part, as of the timing of this recording, so far I've released 2 videos so far, which is Greed and Gluttony so far. And really, in all honesty, that game has been really good. I do plan on doing a deep dive into gaming, which, if I'm not mistaken, this might actually be the first indie game that I will be doing a deep dive into gaming video based on, which is something I normally never do. But it's interesting that a game like this actually sparks me to do a conversation, you know. Dark Souls is one thing, but this game does stuff a little bit differently than most Souls-like game, where you do a level down mechanic, and it makes you think about, okay, what do I sacrifice first versus what I'm going to end up sacrificing in the long run. Now, Record 2, for a lot of players, they probably just go ahead and sacrifice all of the stuff and then fight the bosses. Therefore, you know, get used to what their weaknesses are and then go from there. And that's more or less of a challenge feature when you think about it. But that being said, recently picked up on Final Fantasy VIII, and you know, it's interesting. But it could be because of the fact I hadn't gotten far enough yet. But Final Fantasy VIII has not been as bad as what I remembered. Again, it could be because of the fact I hadn't gotten far enough to where it would matter. But I noticed that really I'd done a little bit better in terms of like understanding how everything works and stuff. It's not completely 100% better yet, but to that extent, it's more or less of understanding the gameplay. Understanding the main mechanic of how Final Fantasy VIII works. And I think now that I have a better understanding of how the game works, I can actually put together a better system together. But we'll see how that goes. It's a matter of like experimenting with the GFs and then going from there forth. Now, of course, you probably notice, I don't know if you noticed right off the back or not, but for those of you who did watch it on stream, you noticed that I played through Sinner Sacrifice for Redemption first, and then going into Final Fantasy VIII, rather than going Final Fantasy VIII Sacrifice for Redemption, Final Fantasy VIII Sacrifice for Redemption. And that's only because on the one hand, I don't like doing that. I don't like jumping from one game to the next. I do that a lot, but for the most part, I feel like I want to jump into the same game that I previously played because I'm getting far into it, and Sacrifice for Redemption was that game that done it. It basically told me that I enjoy playing one game at a time and then going from there. And it's not the first time that this has happened multiple times. Sometimes I do more of a favoritism of one game versus another. And I think for a lot of Let's Players, they go through this trial and error, you know, they play like dozens of other games at a time, and then all of a sudden they end up like they want to play more of this one game versus this other game because they have more fun with this one game. It's not that the other game is bad, it's just they're enjoying this other one more, and this has happened more on one occasion for me. And I think it will happen to a lot of other Let's Players, and I think that's one of the reasons why we usually just stick to one playthrough of a game versus the next. And then, of course, there's also the fact that I've done my Just a Thought theory that I've just recently started up and stuff. And basically, it's going to take place of the BlackCross discussion videos. And there are two reasons why I'm doing the Just a Thought video. The Just a Thought videos, I want them to be more live on camera moment, where I don't have to cut everything out, but instead I can just go into like an actual discussion. And also too, I have the visual effect of like the computer's right here, and if I need to do a quick lookup, I can do that as well, quick reminder and stuff. And so it's stuff like that that has more or less come up into surfacing as to like how I want to do things, and this is something that I actually like to do. Now, of course, I know for some people they think that it would probably be a good idea just to put a webcam on top of my computer and then do it that way. The only problem is that the webcam that I've got, I currently have it set on top of my TV for whenever I do my live streams. And the quality of that one is not bad until you zoom outward. Like, as the picture, the video quality gets bigger. As it gets bigger, it reduces in terms of quality. The reason why it looks good terms of live stream is because it's reduced to a size. If it was to be magnified to a full screen, it would be shoddy and very terrible. Not to say that it's completely terrible, but it's bad enough for me to go, I think I'll just stick to the camera. And this is the same camera I've been using for almost 4 years now. 3 years I suppose, but 4 years nonetheless. And what's funny is that this camera is actually the same camera that was used with my brother Delmar. I'm sure you probably noticed that both cameras are somewhat the same quality, and that's only because Delmar's camera was this one at one point, and then basically I paid him money to buy this one off him, and then he ended up buying a newer version, which is weird to say that I would buy a hand-me-down technology and then Daniel upgraded to a higher quality camera. Not so much higher, but a little bit more developed, I suppose is the term. You know, it looks the same, really. It does look the same. It has like somewhat the same features. It has some differences here and there, but it's essentially the same camera type. So it was interesting that he got practically the same camera that he has had. And really there's no plans on like getting a better camera at the moment. But if for some reason this camera ends up dying on me, I probably will advance into a higher quality camera. Not so much 4K, but who's to say really right now. I think quality in terms of picture at this rate right now is getting ridiculous. What with the fact that we recently have been getting news of like 8K television coming out of Surface and stuff. And in all honesty, it's going to be at least like 5 years before 8K can even be processed at this point in time. We're just right now realizing that 4K we cannot handle at this current moment in time. We can push the quality, yes, but we can't handle the quality of picture as of right now. We can't really handle it. So I think right now we're going at a slow pace of like where the next evolution of quality is going to be. And to me, really, in all honesty, next quality is just kind of ridiculous. I'm fine with 1080p, 60 frames per second as is. And really, in all honesty, it's not so much the picture quality that's important. To me, I think it's the frame rate that's important right now. And the quality in which delivering it is essential, you know. You can only deliver good picture quality for so long until eventually you can't go any higher of detail. And it's funny, a lot of people talked about it too in the past. We've reached that point to where now, even if we do get another console generation, it's not going to be that majorly different compared to the last. I think they're only doing this trying to boost up sales in general, so that way they can at least get like better technology going on. I think that's what it is, but who's to say right now? But yeah, in terms of like how the channel is going on right now, it is at a standstill. It is at a standstill. It has not grown, but it has not decreased really at all. So it's hard to say really if I've improved or not. Twitch has not really grown, but it has been active, really. I've been getting a lot more people watching my streams. They haven't been following, but they have been watching my streams. So, in a sense, I guess that's all that matters, you know, the fact that I get more people interested in me. And really, that's all I really want. I'm not trying to, like, push the bar in terms of live stream quality. I'm just there to, like... I don't want to talk down about myself, but what I am really is that I'm just a guy who enjoys talking to people and who just enjoys hanging out and playing video games. That's who I am, essentially. I have been like this for years, you know. I am nothing major. I am no expert in anything. I am no major enthusiast. I'm just a random fan guy who just loves playing video games and talking to people. That's all I am. And even if I don't have a genuine interest in anything in particular, I don't mind listening to people, you know. It just, listening to them, just being there just to listen is enough to help them through their struggles and stuff. And to me, if I can just be that one person that is willing to listen to everybody else, I don't think that's a problem, in my opinion. If nothing else, that's probably one of the reasons why I enjoy streaming better than doing just regular Let's Plays for YouTube. It's because of the fact that I do talk to a wide variety of audiences. And who knows, maybe someday we can do a vlog video of where I basically talk about stuff live in front of everybody else, in front of you guys, really. So who's to say, you know, right now we're kind of in the small numbers, but if for some reason we get far enough to where we can get a lot of people to watch a live stream and stuff, me talking and stuff, this would be probably a cool thing to do, you know? Every once in a while, I'll do a vlog video where I just hang out with everybody and stuff. You know, answer questions and whatever. Because every other YouTube has started doing this as well. You know, this is nothing new. This, in general, is nothing new. Everyone else has done this for a couple of years now, really. It hasn't been, like, majorly improved, but it's a thing that has sprung up and everyone else is doing it. You know, it's nothing new and interesting. It's just something that everyone does. And it's something that I guess socially it helps their mentality and it helps them get through their mundane daily routine and stuff. So if really, in all honesty, it's more or less of a mental stability, I suppose you could say. It's a mental stability. So with that being said, apparently we had an election campaign come up where the Congress House revolves into either Democrats or Republicans. And you know me, I have no major interest in that whatsoever. I completely forgot that we even had that going on. You know, it's like one day Twitter all of a sudden was like either two-sided. It was either talking about the Republicans or the Democrats, or it was talking about people avoiding the entire thing, you know, just being distracted. It's like, yeah, this whole thing is frustrating as it is. It's annoying. It's stressful. I'm tired of it. So you know what? We're gonna do something random and stupid and funny. And some of the stuff that they came up with was actually quite hilarious. It was enough to say, yeah, I completely forgot we had the election. And so when someone came to me and told me that, hey, did you hear that the Democrats won the House? And I'm like, huh? What? What's going on? And it's like, yeah, the Democrats won over the House. And it's like, oh, I completely forgot that we had an election thing. Yeah, so if you're wondering where my political standpoint is at right now, is I don't give a fuck. That's what it is. I don't give a fuck. It's like, if you want to talk about politics, go ahead. But I'm just sitting here playing video games and hanging out with everybody else. That's where my standpoint is. So that's your one and only political statement that I'm going to throw in. And that's it. It's just a brief 2 minutes probably. I don't know. But that being said, in terms of like upcoming events, I do want to go ahead and kind of throw in some ideals out there. Obviously, we will be playing through all the Final Fantasy games, with the exception of, like, of course, the MMO ones like 11 and 14. But we're going to be playing them all the way up to Final Fantasy 15. And depending on how things go, if I'm not mistaken, I think we'll get to 15 strictly right after episode Agna gets released. I'm doing a just a thought video regarding Square Enix situations and stuff. So depending on if this one comes out before that one, or that one comes out before this one, you'll know either way. But with that being said, I do plan on playing all through all the Final Fantasy games in general. So after Final Fantasy 8, we'll jump into 9, 10, 12, 13, and then ultimately 15. Which really, when you think about it, if I do like a Final Fantasy game per month, December will be Final Fantasy 9, which will mark the full year that I've been streaming Final Fantasy games. Not a continuous rate, but it was enough to where I have played, like, so far, in terms of just this past year, so far, 8, 9 Final Fantasy games. And then, of course, I think, depending on how things go, January we'll be playing Final Fantasy X, but then Kingdom Hearts 3 will kind of come out and stuff, and I don't know. See, there's a problem with that one. I don't know about Kingdom Hearts 3 yet. I don't know if I want to do a full stream of Kingdom Hearts 3. There's a lot of people who are just right now waiting to basically do video on Kingdom Hearts 3. There's a lot of people who are basically deciding not to stream Kingdom Hearts for an entire month or something like that. And it's hard for me to say what I want to do because I really, really, really want to play Kingdom Hearts 3. I've been waiting for Kingdom Hearts 3 forever now, and I've always wanted to jump into it. But now it's like, should I stream Kingdom Hearts? I don't know. Because the problem is that we're kind of in this situation to where, depending on the company, depends on where they want to go in terms of, like, should you live stream it as soon as it comes out or not? You know, the only time we've had this happen was, like, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Persona 5. And in all honesty, I completely understand putting like a month hold on a game and not live streaming it. I completely understand that. You know, you're doing it in terms of a sales point, you're doing it to like help boost sales for that game and to prevent spoilers for that game. And I understand if there's like a month cap to it, you know, I can understand that. You're giving people time to play the game, and then for any live streamer, they can just jump in and play the game a month after its original release, and therefore they can just live stream it then and there. So I don't know how that's going to go. But if you do have a genuine say in something like this, please give me your thoughts on that. Should I stream Kingdom Hearts 3 as soon as it comes out, if I am able to, that is? Or should I wait a month after its original release? Because I have been very excited for Kingdom Hearts 3. I cannot wait to play it when it comes out. And depending on what you guys want to do with it, depends on if I'll even live stream it or if I'll do like a regular Let's Play of it. Because I'll probably jump into Kingdom Hearts 3 and play the living heck out of it, you know. Or who knows? Who knows? Maybe I'll just play Kingdom Hearts 3 on the sideline, and then once a month or two comes out, we'll play through Kingdom Hearts, but we'll play through it as a completion run. That'd be something interesting, you know, just 100% complete Kingdom Hearts live stream. That would be something that I would like to do very much. I actually have a genuine interest now. But then again, I've also wanted to do a complete playthrough for a long time, but I couldn't because of the fact of how tired I would get in the long run. But who's to say really right now? In terms of like other events, there is of course other games that I'm wanting to play in between other Final Fantasy games as we go on. Obviously, between Final Fantasy X and Final Fantasy XII, there's Kingdom Hearts 3 that I'm wanting to do. Depending on the set release of other games as well, which won't be until like March. So February will be calm, but March will have like an abundance of games. You know, there's Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. There's also the fact that Devil May Cry 5 will be coming out that month as well. We're still waiting on like Biomutant later on that year, which is supposed to be summer of 2019. And Code Vein, who knows what happened. It was set to release in September, and then all of a sudden it just got delayed a week later. A week later they were like, we're gonna delay Code Vein, and it's like, what just happened? You know, it's just like, did you find something that almost broke the game or something, or was it just in general? So I'm hoping that they'll release details of Code Vein. Who knows? Maybe they'll reveal a release date, and then they'll say, okay, it will be released in March, which March is already busy enough as it is. So it's like, oh, crappy doodle. I have a choice. I can either play this, or this. Either way, we're pretty much fucked. Depending on how things go, of course. I may do a poll of, like, what games people want me to play and stuff, and then we'll go from there. Like I said, I'm still wanting to play through the Final Fantasy series, and depending on how things go from here on out, we'll see what happens. I know for some people they're wondering if I'm going to do a complete playthrough of all of the Final Fantasy games. There are some Final Fantasy games that I may do a complete run of, and there's some that I won't. For example, right now we're going to enter in that ran of, like, we're not going to do a 100% completion run. We're only going to just play it just for the sake of playing it. For example, Final Fantasy VIII, we will try to get all of the GF summons as well as the ultimate weapons. We'll see what happens. Final Fantasy IX, depending on how that goes, we'll just get all the summons and the ultimate weapons as well. 10, not so much the ultimate weapons, because if you play 10, you'll know that technically to get the ultimate weapons, you have to do, like, 2 sets of quests, one to get, well, 3, depending on who you are. You have to get the ultimate weapon, and then you have to get the 2 gem and stones for that weapon in order to even activate its abilities. And some of them are ridiculous. My least favorite one is the Chocobo Mission one. That one is just, I'd rather not go through that again. I'd rather not. That's annoying as is. I've probably played that way more times than I should. It's mundanely stupid. So instead, we'll just create our own weapon, obviously. And I think I have an idea of, like, what type of abilities I want that weapon to have, but we'll go from there. That being said, Final Fantasy XII, we'll just play through that one. We'll do a bunch of side missions along the way, but for the most part, we're just going to play through the game as is. Up until we can get the final Zodiac summon itself, and then by that point we'll just beat the game. Final Fantasy 13, we're gonna go straight through it. We'll do a couple of side quests, the monster hunts rather, but we're just gonna beeline straight for the finish line. Yeah, if I was to try, which I'm not going to, I'm not gonna try it. If I was to try doing the treasure hunter trophy, that would drive me nuts. Just to, like, having to go through, collect every item just to try to get it. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to play through Final Fantasy 15. I think for a lot of people's sanity, they'll appreciate it. I think for a lot of people, they'll be like, thank you, just play through 13. That's all you got to do. 15 is going to be a different story. I don't know how I'm going to do that one because of all the episode that they've released for Final Fantasy 15, and I say by that point 15 will be completely fully done at that point in time. Hopefully it'll be fully done to where I never have to, like, worry about another update or anything like that ever again, and hopefully 15 will be completely finished, hopefully. So we'll just see from there. But there are other games that I'm wanting to play in between games here and there. There is actually one game that I just recently found out about, and it was a game that my friend TJ was telling me about. You know, I was telling him about how Sinner Sacrifice for Redemption is basically a glorified boss rush Dark Souls-like gameplay with a level down mechanic. And he's like, well, actually there's another game that's sort of like a boss rush game. And I'm like, do tell. Keep talking. And he was telling me about it, and I forgot the title of the game, but I'll put it up here for you guys to where you can see it. He was telling me it's basically a boss rush game where you fight bosses in general, and I'm like, I'll probably be playing that after Final Fantasy VIII, depending on how things go. I may be playing that one after FF8. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. might as well talk about a little bit about my life, about what's been going on so far. I know for some people, they've been wondering how I'm doing in terms of my work. And I figure I might as well go ahead and reveal it to you guys so that way you know. Delmar really doesn't want to talk about it or reveal it to anyone. But in my personal opinion, if you respect that person as is, you'll respect their wishes. And my wishes are, if you know where I work and you see me wearing the vest, just look at me as an employee. Don't look at me as like a major YouTuber or anything like that. Just look at me as an employee. Because as I'm wearing the vest, I do my job, and then that's it, you know. If I have the vest off, then yeah, you're more than welcome to bring it up. You're more welcome to talk to me or whatever. Just whatever you want to say. But as I'm wearing the vest, don't assume anything. Just assume that I'm just a normal employee of Walmart. Yes, I work at Walmart. And I'm sure you guys heard the news. Walmart has no plans to hire extra help for the season. And we are all suffering for it. I think this is painfully obvious. The main reason why Walmart basically didn't hire extra help, their main reason they said was that they can give their employees that they currently have more time to work. You know, more time means higher pay, obviously, right? To some degree. I'm sure some of you, if you're in the work industry, you know that the more money you make, the more taxes takes off from that. If you also know, too, it doesn't always pay out in the long run. You know, you can work 7 days within the week, and it's not that much pay compared to that of just working your normal 5 days. And really, as the way Walmart is right now, I really have no interest in working a full 7 days, much less 6 days in general. I've had my managers actually begging me to work an extra day or two, and I'm like, nope, not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. You can't force me, technically. You cannot force me. It is not mandatory, so therefore you cannot force me. So I'm just working my normal days as is. I finally got my mind around everything in general, and I think I finally figured out the problem that is where I work. As I stated before, the job is not hard. In terms of like what I'm doing, it's not really hard, and I don't necessarily have to push myself to get it done. But it's the stress of the individual person. I'm sure every company is like this. Everybody is going to be like this in some form of way. But if you work in anywhere in general, you're going to have negativity floating around really badly. You're going to have negativity just floating in the workplace itself. And sadly, we have like 3 or 4 people that are like this. They are so negative. They bring down everybody. And the bad thing is, they keep repeating it. It's like, we know this. Would you stop repeating what you're saying? It's a continuous cycle, and it has not ended. It is ridiculously stupid is what it is. And it's like, you know what? Just let us work, okay? Just leave us to what we're doing right now. We're just gonna work. We don't necessarily have to get it all done, because it's nearly impossible, you know? You think about it. Third shift right now has like maybe 9 or 10 people in terms of stocking as is. And it's like, we can't get a full like 5,000-6,000 piece truck done. Again, for those that don't know, pieces is referred to boxes. 5,000-6,000 pieces, you do the math. If you think 10 people can handle that many items in like an 8-hour span. Not even 8 hours, more like a 5-hour when you think about it, because depending on it, we take an hour just pulling the freight out from the back, and then we have our breaks that we have, you know, our 2 15-minute breaks, which is 30 minutes, and then an hour lunch. And then, unfortunately, we have to stop stocking right at a certain time, so that way we can do a quick zone over in grocery. And by quick, I mean pulling everything forward, you know. We can't really do a detail zone, so it's like, we can't really make it any better than what it looks like anymore. And because of the fact that they're not hiring extra help anymore and stuff like that, we can't do anything about it. You know, we can only do so much of right now, what we can and what we have. And yeah, we're screwed either way. My worry is about how Black Friday is going to handle, you know. I mean, record, obviously they're going to have people set in certain time frames to where they can handle it. But in terms of like Black Friday news, I hear that Walmart's going to open up earlier for the Black Friday rush. And I'm like, Walmart, why are you doing this to yourself? You're only going to hurt more people. Now, record, last year has been very nice. Last year was like the nicest Black Friday I've ever encountered. Now, the year before last was nice, but that's only because I was working over in grocery and I didn't have to worry about the main crowd that was over on the GM side. Last year was the first year that I worked over in GM department, the GM side, the general merchandises and everything like that. That was like the first year that we were working there. And surprise, surprise, even though we were working the Black Friday freight, you know, pulling out freight after freight after freight of merchandises to where customers can dive in there and grab them and go and stuff like that, it's been actually calm. Like, the weirdest thing was that we were having to bring these giant box tote-sized pallets out into the main floor and put them out on the main aisleway to where people can just grab them. And I was thinking that we were going to have a hell of a time, you know. The second we pull them out and stuff like that, people are going to dive bomb as we're pulling the pallets and stuff like that. You know, you hear these horror stories all the time. You hear them. That's not what happened. Last year when we were pulling those freights, we ended up actually, like, weirdly enough, we had people, like, kind of splitting up to let us through. It's like, imagine Moses was just, like, right there in front of everybody in general, and as we were fixing to pull stuff out, he basically split people away to where we could pull merchandises out. It was so weird. I was like, they're letting us through? I've been judging Black Friday so much lately. I forget that we do have some decent people. Then again, they had like 3 other sales going on before we came in, and by that point the sales had died out and we just had our normal Black Friday deal sales, you know, all of the major sales that people was desperate to get to stay in line to grab and stuff like that. That was already gone and over with like an hour before we even showed up, and by that point the crowd had already died out. Now record, we still had people asking us, well, do you have this item or this item or this item, and obviously we don't have them and everything like that. So it was better than what I suspected. I'm hoping that this year will be better, obviously due to the fact that we have the lack of people to help with and stuff. We just have no way of being able to control what we can and can't do. It sucks because we had like at least 15 people, and within like a month's time we lost 4 or 5 people. 2 of them quit, 2 of them moved into a different department in general, and I don't know what happened to the one. It's hard to say where he's at. I won't go into details, but the point is that Walmart third shift in general is crippled right now, and I don't even think Walmart knows what it wants to do anymore. They have like different rumors, different ideals and stuff that they have spread out, and the sad thing is that I don't think they even know how to execute it. That's the sad thing, is that they have these ideals and plans, but they're not doing anything. They're not doing anything in general. It's like, if you're going to say something, at least have the common decency to execute it, you know? If you're going to do it, you're going to do it, because as a company, that's what you do. You have a plan, you're going to go with it, regardless of what people say or do. But so far, nothing has been done. Nothing has been executed yet. The only thing that's been executed is that they're not hiring extra help for third shift, and we're just left to absorb all of the hate that everyone has right now. And I hear it behind my back every morning whenever I get ready to clock out and stuff. I hear it every morning from first shift and everybody else. It's like, why can't they hire extra help? Why is management not saying anything? Why? Because they can't, obviously. Obviously, they tried to get extra help, but the head people are saying, no, we're not going to give you extra help. Have them work overtime. And the funny thing is, people don't want to work overtime. They're working hours that they want to work, and then that's all they want. If any of them do want to work extra hours, that's understandably fine. But as far as like who in third shift is wanting to work overtime, no one is. I don't want to do it. Delmar doesn't want to do it. There's no one else in third shift who wants to work that extra frustration of like working that many extra days just to get it done and stuff. I don't think Walmart realized what they were getting themselves into. I'm hoping that before Black Friday comes up, they'll realize that they need extra help. But the problem is, it's like, as of right now, we're like 2 weeks away before Black Friday even comes up. And so, you think about it, 2 weeks from now, Black Friday will be here, and there's nothing else that they can do. So, what do you do from there? As of right now, we don't do anything. But I'm not going to stress over it, you know. If it's their decision and their power to decide how they want to go about it, that's their choice, not mine. I'm just going to leave that out of my mind's perspective and just do my normal job, because quite frankly, it's been actually helping me. In fact, me and Delmar have made that decision to where we're going to try to ignore everybody else. We're going to try to block them out if we can, and instead just do our normal jobs, you know? And so far it's been working. So far, it's been actually a positive view, really. And I think now I can actually safely say that, really, Walmart is not that bad. It could be better, but it's not as bad as, like, working at a factory. Working at a factory is way more stressful. It is way more depressing than working at Walmart, probably. I know people will comment down below saying, oh no, Walmart's even more depressing than a factory. No, you have not worked at a factory. You have not worked at a factory. It isn't until you worked at a very high-pay factory that you realize that the pay is no longer worth it. Yeah, I can tell you that for a fact. You could be making like $1,000 per week, and it's not worth it. I can guarantee it's not worth it. I know some people will diss me about it and everything like that, but you know what? You tell me what your job description is, and you tell me what you have to go through, versus like what I had to go through at my factory job. So, there you go. And really, in all honesty, when you work in retailing, you're going to have those two-sided days, you know? You're going to have the good days, and then you're going to have the bad days. The good days is where you help a customer, and you help brighten their day up. They leave with a smile, they have a good, positive attitude, and it makes you feel like you want to do more to help other people and stuff. That's the good part. The bad part is whenever you try to help a customer, you don't have an item, and then they bitch about it about how we don't have that item. It's not much we can do. We don't have that control. Walmart has the main control of it. They decide if they want to keep carrying a certain merchandise or if they want to get rid of it altogether. So it's just one of the things. But yeah, it's just, I finally got over the whole stress of Walmart now, and really it's been doing really good so far. It's been fairly decent in my opinion. There is one other small story I want to kind of go ahead and kind of throw out there before I end the vlog, mostly because this was actually interesting in my opinion. I had some car trouble this past October, what I had. Actually, it was kind of like a standpoint where it's like, it was kind of slow, but then all of a sudden kind of ended up having multiple problems in general. The first problem was that I couldn't use my windshield washer fluid anymore. I couldn't spray it on the windows anymore. It just, the pump went bad. So I was like, okay, well, I gotta get that fixed. But thankfully, I'm not in major need of it. So, I mean, windshield washer fluid is only meant to wash away, like, pollen and dust and dirt and whatever else is on the windows to where you have a clear, visible view. And I hadn't been needing it lately. So it's like, you know what? I won't worry about it. But then I had a headlight go out, and I was like, okay, I'll just buy me a new headlight. Unfortunately, it was not working. I tried hooking it up and stuff. I tried getting it turned on and everything. It would not turn on. I even bought a replacement bulb. It would not turn on. It was quite aggravating. So, by this point, before the bulb went out, we had the rear view mirror pop out all of a sudden. So, we tried to fix it during the middle of summer. It fell off again. We decided to wait until it got to cooler weather to where hopefully the glue substance, whatever you call it, the adhesive that holds the metal plate in place to where you can put the rear view mirror on, will easily freeze up to where it will hold it in place, and so far that worked out too. So the rear view mirror is fixed, but we had an issue with the car. It was being a little bit jarring at times, you know. It's like, normally with the car, whenever I drive, it was smooth, it was easy, there was no problems. But for the last, like, 2 months, I want to say, it was very jarring. Like, you drive and all of a sudden you feel like as if you're going through multiple potholes, and it's like, that's not how it should be running. That's not good. And I was afraid that might have been doing some damage to like the underside of the car, you know. It might have done some major damage when you think about it. Because I mean, a car can be as complicated as a person, you know. There could be multiple problems, there could be multiple symptoms, and you don't know what they are. So before the whole fixing that part came in, I decided to go ahead and take it in to get the windshield washer pump working again, as well as to get the bulb light working. Well, it turns out the bulb light was no major problem. They were able to get it fixed just fine. I guess I wasn't doing it right. I don't know what I was not doing it right. I've done that for like 5-6 times in my life, and for this one not to work for me, that was kind of weird. At this point, I'm like, you know what, screw it. If there's a problem with the car, I'm going to have somebody else fix it. I obviously can't do it anymore, because I've done it in the past, and I can't do it anymore. Even if it's something simple, all of a sudden the car just won't do it for me. I no longer am car efficient. Then again, I've never been a car person. I've just been more of a gamer. So it's like, you know what, if the car is willing to go to where I need to go, it's fuel efficient, that's all I care. With that being said, so that got fixed and everything. That wasn't too bad. But whenever I was hanging out with my friend TJ, he told me about how the driver's side wheel looked a little bare. And whenever I looked at it, I was like, you're right, it is starting to look a little bald. So we started to look at the other 3 tires, and the other 3 tire looks perfectly fine. It was just that driver's side wheel. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, could that be the main problem for the jarring? Could it be that? So I was thinking to myself, it's like, okay, you know what? I'll just go ahead and take it back to the guy who fixed the windshield washer pump and stuff, and get a tire and stuff like that, you know? Because, I mean, the place that I've been taking it so far has been very, 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 very nice. They're very well trained people. They know what they're doing. They've done it for years. They've been around for years. But they don't just repair cars and automotive. They also sell appliances like washer and dryers. They sell ovens. They sell microwaves. They sell a whole bunch of different utility units and stuff like that. But really, in all honesty, they're a very nice facility. They're very nice people. And if you live within the region that I live in of Tennessee, I highly recommend going with them and checking them out. They're very nice people. I wouldn't say they're like absolutely fast, but depending on the situation, depends on how fast it's going to get done. Obviously, if you have multiple problems, it will take a little bit longer. But if you have like one small problem, you may be there for like maybe an hour or 2 at best. Plus, the price ain't that bad. You know, when you think about it, auto parts themselves are expensive. Repairs can be expensive. And when you think about it in labor and cost, it could cost well over $100, $200, $300 at time, depending on they are not that bad. They are pretty decent when it comes to charge rate and stuff like that. So whenever I went to take my tire, get it fixed and everything like that, they had the tire, thankfully. They were able to change it out within like an hour. Actually, I don't even think an hour. I think it was like 40-30 minutes at best. Because I actually called them in advance before I brought it up there. I called them and said, hey, do you have this tire? And they said, yes, we do. And I said, okay, I'll be there in about 10-15 minutes. And they got it done. And I decided to go cruising for a while just to make certain that it was just the tire. And if it was the tire, then good. If it wasn't the tire, I need to kind of get it checked in. Turned out it was the tire. It's kind of weird, isn't it? Turned out something so simple as a tire, which, record, yes, a tire is expensive. A tire is very essential. It's very important to have a tire with treads. But it does more than keep friction between the car and the road stable. It also is a stabilizer for the car. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people said if a tire isn't fully aired up and stuff like that, it can cause problems. If you don't have all of the lug nuts in place, it can cause problems. There's multiple situations that can happen just from a tire perspective. And I did not realize that was causing the car to be so jarring at times. It's funny of how it's like, you can go your whole entire life thinking you know something, and then all of a sudden you uncover a small little secret, which in reality it wasn't really a secret, it was just something you didn't know. But yeah, I uncovered that. My car's running good right now. It's been a good car so far for like the past 3-4 years now, I think 3 or 4 years. It's been a while now, but either way. Anyway, though, that was just some stuff I wanted to talk about, give you some updates about streaming, about videos and stuff like that, as well as about my life, how's this going and stuff like that. So, anyway, though, guys, let me know in the comments below how you're liking things so far. Are you liking streaming in general? Are you liking the upload rate that I've been doing so far? And if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. So, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. This is BlackCross signing off. Catch you guys later.